Do you think there will be apathy on the part of Christians this time? Do you think that could be one of the reasons that a lot of men of God are trying to endorse, one candidate or the other?
That is not part of the reason. Most of them, they have intrinsic motives. Clerics must be apolitical. Any cleric that is found being partisan will be properly dealt with.
Really?
Yes. You are speaking with the Supreme Council of Bishops here.
I see.
I do not see religion playing
a part.
No.
Because this time you
have because we have two persons of same religion. Hate speech is a vehicle of violence. We have to be guarded in what comes out of our mouth.
And it's just TikTok to the elections. Countdown to February 16. You're watching Roots TV Nigeria. My name is Gloria Oje Emode. Now, we have heard a lot when it comes to men of God endorsing different presidential candidates. Over the period of, would I say, a couple of months ago, like up to 6 months, we have heard different men of God coming out to either align with this presidential candidate or the other presidential candidate. And just recently, just a few days ago, you heard that over 1,000 clergies stormed Abuja to support President Muhammadu Buhari. So you see all these alignments by men of God, and people wonder why, considering that men of God, pastors, clergies, imams hold a strong value in so many lives, in the lives of many electors, because we're a very religious country. So is this right? Should they be endorsing these candidates? And we'll also talk about the effect of religion on the forthcoming elections. Will that sway how you vote? To talk about this, we have in the studio Archbishop Polycarp Sunday. He is the founding primate of the Supreme Council of Bishops with headquarters in Houston, Texas. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so I want to get your thoughts on this. First of all, these clergymen who came into Abuja to endorse President Muhammadu Buhari, two things. Should they be endorsing anybody? And do you have a problem with who they have chosen to endorse? Firstly,
I would say I have no problem endorsing the candidature of any presidential candidate whatsoever. But the little issue I have here has to do with the President Muhammadu Buhari himself. And how I mean is this: sometimes in November 2018 at Sheraton Hotel, we had an interfaith conference, of which he was one that hosted us. All the clergies, both the Christian and the Muslim clerics.
When you say clergy, what umbrella is this?
Both the Christian and the Muslim clerics in the country came together. Talking about the Sultan of Sokoto was there, Cardinal John Onaika was there, the primate of the Anglican Communion, Nigerian Anglican Communion, was there in attendance. Myself, I was there. Some other few archbishops from the Pentecostal arm of
the Christian church.
Yes. The camp president was there in attendance. The executive arm of the government was there. The CJN was there, and also our two former heads of state were there, and some other Catholic bishops and what have you. All of us were there. It was a 3-day conference. Let me put it through. It was a 3-day conference. I was one of the delegates, and in that conference, the last day of the conference, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari was there in attendance. And one of the words he used, he said, clerics, whether Muslim clerics or Christian clerics, must be apolitical.
Meaning they should not align with any political party or candidate that is running for any office in this election.
And even before he appeared that day, the last day of the conference, for the past 3 days, we lodged at Sheraton Hotel, all of us there, all the clerics, both the Sultan himself and other Catholic archbishops with the Pentecostals. So we lodged there and were able to discuss one or two things about the upcoming 2019 election.
And what were your resolutions?
We came to a final resolve that please, clerics, either Christian clerics or Muslim clerics, must be apolitical.
So that is why you have a problem.
And the government that was there in attendance, they assured they said any cleric that is found being partisan in some sort will be properly dealt with.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Really? This was
I remember vividly. I wrote everything down. The pictorial proofs are there. I was there. You understand? And I took that as well. This is a very good development. But after 2 or 3 months after this conference, I started hearing of endorsement here and there on the presidential candidature of President Muhammadu Buhari, even 1,000 bishops coming from all over the country to endorse his candidature. And when I heard about it, I just laughed. And I said, what is happening? How about the initial agreement we had? How about the initial discourse we had sometimes last year, November, about the interfaith conference? So is it that the federal government will not keep to the terms of the agreement? Because all the clerics were there. The clerics that matter in Nigeria were there in attendance. And we came to an agreement we are going to be apolitical. So if we say we are going to be apolitical, we have to keep to the terms of the agreement.
A lot of people...
So if these 1,000 so-called bishops, that is if it's true, because I am of the Supreme Council of Bishops, and the president that's even in charge of endorsing the candidature of the president, who happens to be one bishop, like I can't remember his name, he's not a registered member of the Supreme Council of Bishops. The Supreme Council of Bishops is an amalgamation of numerous colleges of bishops from all over the world, all the 7 continents. It has a world-class status, and we don't know this bishop. We in the council, we know ourselves. So we don't know him. So I don't know where he is from. So he doesn't possess the bishopric or the spiritual clout to be able to gather 1,000 bishops in the name of endorsing the candidature of President Muhammadu Buhari.
So what you're trying to say is that this endorsement does not represent either bishops.
It does not represent the bishopric whatsoever, number one, because you are speaking with the Supreme Council of Bishops here.
I see.
You understand? So when I heard about 1,000 bishops, I said, ooh, this is serious. And if you look at the other senior archbishops and bishops within the Pentecostal scene or the Pentecostal arm of CAN, and you cannot find them there. So what are you talking about?
So
which of the bishopric are you talking about?
What you're trying to say is this is more of a charade.
He's on his own.
Okay, so let's talk about religion, because religion is going to play a huge part, whether we like it or not. We're a very religious country, and we're divided among religious lines. So how do you see religion playing out at the elections? Do you think this is going to be an issue? Reason, in the previous election, I mean, we had a Christian running against a Muslim, so it was pretty much of a divide for a lot of people. They were either casting their vote for a Christian or a Muslim based on their beliefs. But the 2 main contenders, even as we speak, even though there are other candidates on that ballot, but the 2 main contenders are both Muslims. Do you see religion playing out here? Do you see religion at all in any form coming to play even as people go to the polls?
Now, talking about the 2 presidential candidates, I would say I do not see religion playing itself. No,
because this time you have because
we have 2 persons of same religion. They are both Muslim candidates. You understand?
Do you think there will be apathy on the part of Christians this time? In the case that the candidates are both Muslims, and you see maybe that's the reason a lot of men of God or clergy from the Christian faith are trying to endorse them, to maybe get Nigerian Christians to go out and vote and not say, you know what, this person is not from my religion, so I'm not even going to vote. Do you think that could be one of the reasons that a lot of men of God are trying to endorse, you know, one candidate or the other?
I think that is not part of the reason.
You think so? Okay, let me put this across.
Reason being that most of them, they have intrinsic motives. I'm sorry to tell you this.
Bishop Kuka.
It has nothing to do with religion.
Yes. The Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Bishop Kuka, I spoke to him quite recently, and according to him, he said that these may be transactional motives. They may be doing it for possible, you know, promises, and we've also seen, you know, Father Mbaka, who at some point, would I say, cajoled P2B to drop something, to bless the church, to do something in the church in exchange, you know, paraphrasing, you know, he was big coy about it, but it was all about give something to the church.
You see, all of this confusion in the air, we need to put to stop all of this mess going on in this country. Are you hearing me? I have no problem ministers of God being active participants in political affairs of this country. I have no problem with it. But when you bring yourself to the forefront and you take it as if that is your calling, that's where the problem is. Father Mbaka has a problem with that. And he has to be cautioned. The diocese where he belongs, he has to be cautioned.
They have tried on several occasions.
Let me tell you something. Sometimes early this year, was it January 1? There was this caption, and he made a prediction Buhari was going to fail. Then all of a sudden, you are going to meet him in Aso Villa and all this stuff.
And then this nonsense was and now he has come out to endorse Atiku from what
Look, let me tell you something. It's high time you have to tell these these politicians, look, all these persons coming here and there from, I don't have problem with believers or men of God endorsing candidate. A candidate. I don't have any problem. It's very okay. But the issue of Reverend Father Mbaka and some other ministers, you understand? To me, when you are doing something, you must be focused. You talk about Buhari on January 1, and you said he was not going to win the elections. Then suddenly, all of a sudden, you came up and you are now on his side. Then also, we also heard about your relationship with Peter Obi, former Governor Peter Obi, who is the vice president of PDP, and you know, the confusion is too much.
In this case, let us be focused. We're in good hands. Probably.
What a man of God should do, what I expect a man of God to do is this: you pray for the candidates, bless them. Are you hearing me? Just like we had that agreement sometimes in November last year at the Interfaith Conference, organized by the Federal Government of Nigeria in Paris-Pasu with the Anglican Communion, the Catholic, the Sultan of Sokoto, and the Khan. Let us keep to that term of agreement.
I see.
Hate speech is a vehicle of violence. Are you hearing me? Yeah. Hate speech is a vehicle of violence. And how I mean is this? We have to be guarded in what comes out of our mouth. Talking about the class of the governor of Kaduna State.
El-Rufai.
You understand? El-Rufai. You know, he's a public servant. You've worked with the federal government. You have experience. And the present sitting government, that's the APC, they've been campaigning on matters of hate speech. And they have insisted that anyone that is found wanting must be properly dealt with.
And it's quite interesting that he has not been cautioned by government for making that kind of
statement. There was a mistake they made. They made a mistake and they backed him up.
They should distance themselves from that. Thank you very much. That's what you said. Well, the moral thing would have been to distance yourself from that, because that's a very strong.
Thank you very much.
And even the international
but they never did.
Condemned that. Actually,
I'm happy what the U.S. Ambassador Smith in Squad did. He came up openly and he made this the U.S. mind open. Look, anyone that is found speaking, you know, about the international community, like Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State, will be properly dealt with. And he meant his words. Yes. I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy about that.
Just like you said, we're really very hopeful that the elections will be free and fair. Thank you so much, Archbishop Apolitical Sunday, for taking our time to talk to us. We are hopeful that the elections will be free and fair and very, very safe. Please, if you have not gotten your PVC, you have till February 11th, that's Monday, to go ahead and collect that. The INEC just announced today that it's been postponed to 11th. That is about 5 days to the elections. Yeah. So you do need to collect your PVC to exercise your franchise, was basically vote. My name is Gloria Ojemode, and you've been watching Roots TV Nigeria. Do you think there will be apathy on the part of Christians this time? Do you think that could be one of the reasons that a lot of men of God are trying to endorse, you know, one candidate or the other?
That is not part of the reason. Most of them, they have intrinsic motives. Clerics must be apolitical. Any cleric that is found being partisan will be properly dealt with. Really? Yes, yes. You are speaking with the Supreme Council of Bishops here.
I see.
I do not see religion playing itself. No.
Because this time
because we have two persons of same religion. Hate speech is a vehicle of violence. We have to be guarded in what comes out of our mouth.